Test. Test on test. So hello everyone, welcome to our live. Good afternoon, MCAM. Good afternoon. Alright, let's get into some analysis here, I guess. I did take a little look at London session. I didn't take it in there. Figured it might be good since we had a big range overnight. Sometimes a big range overnight doesn't bode too well for AM session. Sometimes it can get a little bit choppy, but I mean, price action looks good, so we might get something nice. If there's an SMT here during London session, this would be a nice 5-minute long. There's not though. Is there? But it's not. No SMT. Anyway, let's go zoom out a little bit. So on the daily, we got on the daily. Oh, let me go. So many. Fogging up the screen a little bit. So I know I said I wasn't going to trade FOMC last night, but I made a deal with my wife. She let me. Nice catch a nice trade. Show you in a second. Get rid of some of the crap. Okay, I guess we can keep these since relevant. Irrelevant. Okay, so failed to hit this buy side liquidity here is out daily FVG like 5 times. So perhaps we go there today. We'll see. No, we did sweep liquidity here. Minor sweep though, so I'm going to count this as relatively equal highs rather than. Dude, what is wrong with my mouse? I'm going to count it as relative equal highs rather than such a small pick or so. Not the pick was it. 2 ticks, usually you want a sweep, a liquidity sweep to be like 5 or more. I'll just call this relative equal highs. An SMT here. There was no SMT here either. Yes, took this high. Did it by a little bit. I think we should still head there. We're reacting off this 1 hour gap here. So we did sweep those lows, like I said we would yesterday, on most of this sell side here. There's a couple more lower, including a daily gap. We've got a bullish reaction here off this low and hourly. Mark this. That way we can know for reference. I've swept sell side and reacting off an FVG here. Let me draw a fib from this range high. Okay, so we've already hit EQ and we're still we're reacting off this gap here. Is it a 4 hour? No, it isn't hourly, but we did inverse the 4 hour. So again, another bullish sign. H4 IFBG there. Previous week high, previous day high around scalp. We did sweep this previous week high here. This is M and Q, by the way, not NQ. Sometimes the prices are a little bit on NQ. Sweep it on the on NQ. Yeah, we did. 28,700. This is that tiny little sweep that we saw earlier, or like a tick or so. I think it's a previous day. Well, right there. Well, actually, yeah, I'll drag that out. Then there's no point in leaving. Definitely a reference point. What's M and Q? Already got this marked out as so good. Yeah, it's definitely a good draw on liquidity there. Okay. So H4 FVG, IFVG there. And obviously, if you traded higher time frame, then not a bad little H4 setup. Pretty good H4 setup if you traded the H4 time frame, which I don't. So relevant. Yeah. Anyway, so what I'll do here, I'll mark out this. You know what? We can actually just label this as an H1 gap as well, because obviously we haven't gone back down to it very well. This one minute, market open down to this level. It's just above discount. So obviously we have the end dog here, new day opening gap. This is the little purple box. Again, a good draw on liquidity. So yeah, I mean I'm bullish today. There's not really any doubt about it, to be honest. With sort of liquidity tapped into a high time frame gap. We have an inversion on the H4. We have end dog above, and we also have relative equal highs at the daily FEG. So yeah, there's no reason to really be bearish. Yes, we're reacting off, or we could potentially react off premium of this range here, but you know, we've got fuel. You know, the easiest way I can put it. We've got fuel, so I'll keep this range here. We'll keep this for reference. Yeah, I mean, we know there's imbalance above, so I don't really need to mark out this because it's quite big. You know, if I drew out a big hourly bar, quite big. So maybe I can just drag it to the side. Way when we go on the lower time frame. Obviously, you know that we have to combine FEGs. So technically, this is your whole hourly imbalance, but because it's so big, I'm not really going to bother. I'm just going to do that. Yeah, you know, a reaction off of this. 15-minute. Did we inverse this little? We did inverse this little 15-minute. There's no rebalance of this range. So, but what we can do, it looks like this is rebalance. Let me just check. We tap EQ. No, we didn't even tap EQ here. So this whole range is balanced actually. Sorry, the whole range isn't balanced. So this fib is valid from the low. All right. I mean, you draw out some minor sell side here. Maybe get a sweep of low. Have some 15-minute imbalances here as well. Little low resistance liquidity run. I'm sure that looks better on the lower time frame. Yeah, there's a 5-minute time frame. Does look better for a low resistance. I'll mark it up as that. LRLR here. And of course, I'll also mark. I'll just do it from the low here since this is the old part. And obviously the buy side here. We want to sweep this high, maybe come lower for a long. We have a 15-minute inversion as well. Say there was an SMT here, this would be a nice clean setup. I don't know if the 4-hour didn't inverse here, so you couldn't have on a lower time frame entry off the 4-hour closure. 4-hour IFEGs above. That wouldn't work. We do have 8:30 open right here, and we've come down at 8:30. No, sometimes we get manipulation at 8:30, which means expansion at 9:30 market open. I mean, I do still want like a retracement here, so no, this would be ideal. This discount range here, maybe tap into this filled gap here, FEG and an IFEG. Run this low resistance liquidity run before heading higher. But I mean, this would also be good if we just came down here, ran this, tapped into this H1 gap, and then went higher. And then this would be adequate. You know, it meets the criteria. So even if we just swept this low, reacted off this 15-minute, it would be adequate for a long. You know, not optimal, but adequate. 9:57. And you were trying to long around here, were you? Any setups? What were you trading? Like what kind of setup were you trading here? Nothing ready for my model around this price range. So I wouldn't have personally taken any long. You were trading like breakout or something, you know, or something valid. I guess is a valid breakout if you were trading retail, but don't really trade retail. All right, so it looks like we have a little minor liquidity sweep here. 5 minutes until market open. We have a M5 FEG. We also have a 5-minute IFEG as well. I guess it's invalid anyway because it would have been a break even. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see if this 5-minute holds. If it closes through, then we can probably expect lower prices. Just going into market open, maybe a nice little Judah swing setup or something. I do like a clean Judah swing, I can't lie. Alright. I guess what we'll do here is we'll zoom into the lower time frame. This is the M1. So on the M1 we do have some stack lows here, some engineered sell side liquidity. Heading down here into this 15-minute gap. Sorry about the coughing, I'm still a little bit on the ropes. Like some weird flu for a while. SMT, is there? Maybe? There is SMT at that. Okay, so we have SMT. If we inverse this 5-minute, we could, you know, safely say that we might be heading lower for a lower price, which is good for us. Because we want, you know, we want to enter at a lower price. We want to enter a discount preferably. Move higher. Although we might not do it today, it might be done tomorrow, but we might be able to catch some of the move if we don't chop here today. Which we could, by the way, we could chop, so I'm just setting the expectations, you know. We did have a big overnight range, and when that happens, sometimes we do chop AM session. Yeah, we'll just wait here. We've got 3 minutes until market open. We're currently testing this M5 FEG here. There is SMT at the lows as well, but it's not as big as the SMT at the highs. But again, dual SMT does indicate that we might chop here. But we'll see. We'll see. If we take out one of these lows quick, or the high quick, then no, that's going to be my criteria here. I'm not going to try and take anything in this range. I want either this low, you know, or maybe a high to be swept. But I am bullish, so definitely the low is preferable here. couple of minutes until this 5-minute closes as well. This 5-minute closes from the market open candle. I'm going to assume that we're going to head lower, and we might be able to catch lower prices here. Nice draws on liquidity lower as well. You know, we got these stack lows, we got these stack lows, unfilled gap, discount. Not too bad. With SMT at the highs here. We do inverse this 5-minute here. We could go on the lower time frame, look for a confirmation model. Basically, we'll inverse a 5-minute or higher IFEG, and we can go onto a lower time frame like the M1 or 30-second. See if we get a pullback into this IFEG here, rebalance it maybe, and then get a 30-second IFEG closure to maybe head lower towards, you know, one of our draw. We do have a couple here, so we've got some solid take profit spots if we do end up taking a short. To say, I am definitely bullish here. Nice buy side, you know, a good draw higher. But in the short term, shorts could work. So we are going to get this 5-minute IFEG just closed. Okay, so we're going to head straight lower. Okay. Well, there's those stack lows that have just been swept. And we're now reacting off the 15-minute FVG. Let's see if we dive lower here. Like I say, this discount range is preferable for potential reversal. Excuse me. You just move this over to the side so it's you know, obvious that okay, so looks like the LRLR here is going to get run to right here. I don't know if you can see on the screen because I've got my you know, resolution centered, but across a little bit and give you the bigger picture. Okay, so LRLR swept. We've just tapped into this H4 IFEG plus H1 FEG. We can keep an eye on ES here, which is to my right. You can't see it on the stream, but I do have it to the right of M&Q's chart here. So usually when you get a big move like this, you don't really want to take the first IFEG in the leg. It will usually come back down, give you another leg with a better entry. There's not really any good entry here to try and take a long. You'd have to wait for 5 minutes, a bit high, but you know, there's no singular gap is what I'm trying to say here. There's no singular gap to try and. If we inverse this 15 minutes, I don't think we will, but we could. Well, I said earlier that I would prefer, you know, this would be my, you know, dream scenario, I guess. come down and rebalance this EQ range. I said that this LRLR here would be okay, would be good. And then this 15-minute IFEG would be, it would be the criteria for long. And we're currently, just swept this gap, this LRLR here, and tapped into this gap. So not bad if we do get a valid long. But yeah, no, this M5 here, decent setup actually, not bad. Not super clean because obviously we did inverse this 5 minutes to the left. But yeah, no, not bad. I don't trade the 5 minute, so that's why I was looking for a confirmation model here. That's why the confirmation model exists. Sometimes I find that the M5 could be unpredictable. For example, IFG here and then close back through it straight away. So, I mean, you probably would have gone break even anyway because we took out this here. Still, I definitely prefer the lower time frame. You get more precise entries. The stops are less. I'm gonna mute my microphone here a second. I need to clear my throat. Bear me a second. There we are. Sorry about that. Yeah, if I just smack the top of the mic, it mutes it, which is quite handy. All right, so we're reacting off this. There's no singular gaps in this leg though, so there's nothing to take here. We'll just stick on the M1 for now. There's nothing to gain from watching the 30-second. Just more headaches. But if you want me to zoom out or anything, let me know. Difficult to try and keep the chart in the center of the stream when I've got it like cropped to the middle. What we might be looking at here, we might be looking at a 10 a.m. reversal. Basically, when a Judas, sort of stalls until 10 a.m., which is when we get that little bit of juice. So we could stall here for the next 20 minutes or so. Like I say, I would like to see this EQ taken here. I guess the kicker here as well would be what sort of candle closure we get on the hourly. Obviously, if we close deep into this gap here, we might not get the reversal we were anticipating. But obviously, if we close somewhere around this sort of region, if we just chop here for the next 20 minutes, get a candle closure above the gap or in like the top 25%, we can still probably expect that reversal. This is a good zone for the reversals. I believe we don't have the 5 minute gap yet. There's nothing clean here, by the way. If you're thinking that this is a good reversal, there's nothing. So when you start having to scale up timeframes to try and find the singular gap, like you'd have to wait for these 5 minutes to close above. There's no lower time frame gap here. Top. And you can't take this closure here on the M1 because there's an M2 in the way. Same with the M3 and then the M4 and the M5. There's no singular gap here. So so at the lows here, there's currently SMT between this low here. ES is currently moving higher while NQ is moving, NQ is stalling here. So potentially what I'm thinking is NQ comes down here, rebalances this range, and then we get some sort of six sister sort of long setup, or well, reversal. I wouldn't say long setup because we might not get a clean IFVG, but some sort of six sister reversal here at 10 a.m. That's that's what I'm thinking here. We'll see if ES starts tanking as well. I'll keep an eye on ES. ES doesn't look like it wants to, just given raw price action. Not done any analysis on ES, so I don't really know what's lower in the range. I assume it's pretty similar though, to be fair. But you do want to be a little bit careful as well when the indices are uncorrelated like this. If I had to, compare where they are, ES is currently up here, and ES is swept this high as well. It's really just messing around this sort of range. I'm just keeping an eye on ES here because there is a clean singular gap after sweeping the high, but we are chopping a little bit on both indices. Seeing if this IFVG on ES is anything that I'd want to get into based on raw price. Like I said, there's not done any prior analysis. I'll show you ES. I've not entering anything there, but I'll just quickly switch over to ES to show you what I mean. So obviously the M2 is too small to take. I think I'm just going to tape read this rather than rather than trying to actually take a trade here, since I've not done any analysis. Maybe a cheeky little like 1 to 3R. The indices are chopping, so there's no there's no trade there. You need to wait for some sort of correlation. So we swept a low here, but there's no gap. Well, inversion to be had. There's no singular IFVG in the leg. There's a tiny little one here, but down way. It needs to be obvious. Sorry, it needs to be obvious, I'm hoping to get the webcam permissions for TikTok Live soon. It said that I had to do 3 25-minute live streams. So I was using my phone. I was just pointing my phone screen at the my monitor, and then I had a message. It was like phone streams don't count, and I'd already done 3 on there. I was like, bro, why didn't I read that small print? So I'm doing like the gaming live on the TikTok studio. There's visibility restricted for some reason. I don't know why it keeps saying this. Recommendation and search results because it contains unoriginal or reproduced content. I don't know what that means. It's all original. It's literally just my chart. But as long as I get the streams under my belt, I guess. I've got this one today, and then I've got one more that I need to do, and then I'll unlock the full live missions. I hope it stops doing that. Where it says live visibility restricted. Make any sense to me? I don't know what's unoriginal about it. It was my own chart. I don't really know. Maybe it's the camera. Maybe it's because I've got a camera source on there, but no actual feed. I can't use my webcam between the two, so I need access to the full lives to be able to do a virtual camera from OBS TikTok Studio. My webcam doesn't allow multiple feeds, so I can't like go live on TikTok, use the webcam as a source, and then the same thing on OBS on YouTube. Like I say, I thought we'd stall here, to be honest, and it looks like I'm right. I do hope we take out this discount level, or that would be nice. It's a shame that my TikTok live isn't getting recommended. It's not getting put in any feeds or anything. It's slightly annoying. Kind of live on there to get the added time to be able to use my OBS setup, but it is what it is. A little move down here. We have a 15-minute here. I'm not going to mark it out because it overlaps with the H4 IFG plus H1. Like I say, if we do inverse this hourly gap, my bias will switch. And I'll be looking at shorts, but get like a side closure here. Either inverse it completely or in like the lower quadrant. We can stick on the lower time from here. See. Here's this lower 15-minute FVG. It's sat nicely in discount here. It's a FVG and an IFVG, or it's actually a BPR, balanced price range. It happens when you have an IFVG and basically both close through each other like this. There's no wicks in this range here. Yeah. Keep the chart here in the center of the screen for the stream. Is this a singular gap? M2, M3. I'll have to keep an eye on the closures if we do get a reversal here. Take the highest time frame gap for closes. Okay, so here's London low. It's a pretty big sell-off, I can't lie. Didn't expect this, I'm going to be honest with you. I expected the reverse off of EQ to head higher, because the draw is pretty good. You have to react, not predict. So we might be wrong about the bias, but we'll see what price gives us. It wouldn't have influenced whether I'd taken this IFEG short here. Don't trade the 5-minute. Even a question. If it's not in my rules, then I get the setup quotation marks, then there's no reason. Gonna help me cut out FOMO, I guess. Having strict rules and knowing that you need to stick to them definitely helps with FOMO, if you're struggling with FOMO, by the way. If it's outside of your rules, then it wasn't your trade in the first place. So I feel bad that you missed out on the move. And I mean, there was this there on the M1, pretty clean off the SMT, but yeah, I mean, you were going straight into an M5 gap. It would have been a break-even trade anyway, and it was pre-market. So 3 reasons there that it was invalidated. But I mean, the tape read is a decent setup. If this was, market open, would have been alright, and it probably wouldn't have pulled back here. Is what it is. It looks like we might get the hourly inversion. I'm diving pretty low here. Looks like we're going in for this low. ES has finally started heading lower. I've just rebalanced range on ES. What was that short that I pointed doing on ES? It looks like it would have been a break even or something. We're definitely heading lower. What time frame was it on? 30-second was it? I don't remember what time frame it was. Like where it was. Where was it? I've completely forgotten. This? It might have been this actually. Yeah, it was this mix. The 2 was too small. This M1 here. Okay, so it would have actually been break even. It would have been a break even. What happens when you try and trade in chop? You're break even or stopped out. If you didn't move your stop to the next intermediate term high, you would have got stopped out here. You had to close because we closed back above the IFEG. So, lesson for you, I guess. Don't take any trades in chop. Wait for the accumulation high or low to be taken. That's when you know that you've entered the manipulation phase. Not really much more to it, to be honest. Accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. there's no confirmation, there's no pullback or anything. It's just a straight dive to these lows. Like I said, if we I was open to going short, if we got the setup, but there's been nothing, so can't be mad about it at all. Sometimes you just miss these moves. Nothing to be upset about. Nothing to dwell over. This happens, and you always get a clean setup. They always happen, and we're in December too, so you always got to expect some sort of BS to happen. December's always a rough month. By the way, so for example, if we got this wouldn't be something that I'd take because we're so close to that low. And if you see, we've already made such a huge move downwards that this isn't a pullback anymore. If it was a pullback, you'd want to see some sort of sensitivity here to the EQ, maybe to this sort of optimal trade entry retracement. But this is powering through it, so this isn't something you take. And we're going for this low here, I think. Go some more sell side here. So we do have this daily gap. This is an unfilled portion of one that got tapped into right here. I'm going to just remove these because it doesn't really matter. We'll keep this one though because we were looking for a closure below. We've got 5 minutes left on that. I really doubt that we're going to come back up here in 5 minutes, but anything's possible, I guess. Take out some of these since they're now irrelevant. This range is pretty irrelevant too. The only thing that's really relevant is these Asia lows here now, and then the sell side below. On the 1 minute too. Yeah, it's on the 1 minute too. I don't have to sell on the 30-second. The potential area for a reversal if we take out this low, especially if we take out this low and ES doesn't. It doesn't look like it's going to be honest. There is a lot of stacked lows in this area, same as NQ really. On ES, the ES hasn't taken out yet, so not really rely on that to be honest. The ES isn't going to take out these lows because they're just as stacked on ES as they are on NQ. There's the H1 gap that we've already filled. We've already tapped into that one. Yeah, no, I can imagine it's dropping. Most stocks are probably dropping with this, to be honest. The indices and the stocks are, highly correlated. I mean, the stocks basically make up the indices, I guess. Yeah, no, I can imagine the video is dropping. I'm going to take a look. I'm curious. What's the ticker? Is it NDA? Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a big gap down there. A lot of gaps on it in the video. I haven't looked at stocks in years. They only trade real-time hours though on stocks, don't they? Yeah, like there's no pre-market or anything. Real-time trading hours only, I guess. But I mean, no, you didn't miss anything, man. You missed nothing. You missed us not take a 5 minute short here because we don't trade the 5 minute. I was looking for a confirmation, didn't get it, so no trade. But yeah, no, there's nothing else you've missed here. I'm waiting for this low. Really, there's nothing. There's nothing else. Just a huge dump, I guess. Huge sell off here. Got a couple of minutes now until the H1 candle close. Also the 4-hour candle close as well. It looks like we're going to close back below this 4-hour gap. Pretty bearish closure, if I do say. So we might be heading for this. The fact that we have an SMT here at the highs. Am I wrong? I might be wrong here, actually. We got here. Yes, take out this. Weird. The S's highs for this is like all down here. I guess it counts. I don't really know. Anyway, this looks like a smart money reversal to me on the higher time frame here. Given that we didn't just sweep this low and head higher, which I thought we were going to get a pretty bearish candle close. And then mark out this range here. Balanced. It looks like the whole thing. You sits just below this daily gap. The big range. Here's the Asia low. Looks like we're about to tap that. Each one gap is pretty irrelevant to why we already tapped it. So we've got 10 a.m. here. If we maybe get a pullback for a continuation. So that's balanced. This is fairly balanced. Balanced too. So it's just this here that's not balanced. Huge imbalances here on the higher time frame. Got the 5. Which is a nice big 5-minute imbalance here. Sat in premium of this range, unbalanced range. Go across. Maybe we could, especially if we leave Asia low here, we don't even sweep it. Yeah, it'd be pretty good grounds for a continuation short if we come and rebalance this range. Definitely wouldn't be opposed to it. Obviously, we have more sell side liquidity right here and down here as well. Sometimes 10 a.m. will either offer a reversal or like a continuation, like a reversal and retracement sort of thing. Any way that I can get TikTok to like re-recommend my stuff, I don't know why. It's completely like stopped me from getting recommended. Like, what is unoriginal about this? It makes no sense to me. Just my chart. That's all it is. That's unoriginal, dude. Anyway, silly dying, I guess. There's an M1 here. You'd have had to go break even pretty quick. I'm not personally looking for a long here because we're so close to this low. You could break even hypothetically right here. Maybe you could target this high, or like EQ 3. But yeah, I'm not in this, by the way. I'm just deep reading it. Usually like your break even point. It's the thing is, this is clean and singular. It is, but we just left this low, and usually when we do that, we know it gives a second leg down to come and sweep it again. So yeah, I mean, you'd be a break even right now. You would. I mean, you'd still be in the trade, but yeah, your stop would be a break even. So if it comes back down to this level, if we kind of like map out what market maker sell model here might look like, where is your first stage distribution? You know, I've got to point these out. So, say for example, this is the smart money reversal here. I mean, we have SMT, S took this high. This would be your first stage distribution. Now, where it gets a bit confusing is this second stage distribution, or are we going to do that right here? Let me rebalance this rate. We'll see. It doesn't look bad. A little tape read, I think. This little 3R trade. I mean, your risk's off at the minute, you know. You go break even right here, so. Still early in the session. It's literally 6 minutes past 10, so a lot can happen. Nice little tape read, to be honest. I do say so myself. Nice, when I hit TP. Huh? The fuck is happening? You mean inactivity? Dude, I'm active. You mean? What is wrong with this TikTok live thing? This is MNQ, so this is micro futures. NQ is what you want to be looking at. Yeah, you can pair NQ and ES. So NQ is the Nasdaq futures, and ES is the S&P 500 futures. They're usually correlated, so you can just sort of compare them. That's sort of where SMT comes in. I always find it weird when we react off of random levels. Like we didn't sweep the slow, but we're getting a reaction here, and it's not just a retracement by it looks of it. Yeah, I mean, opportunities like this give us a tape read. This is a decent setup, but the context's not there. We didn't get this liquidity sweep. If we got this sweep, this would have been perfect, and I would 100% would have gotten in this. But we didn't. We just left it slow. Why? What time frame? I mean, I specifically trade up to the 2 minute. I don't really take anything above the 2 minute, but I sort of just check every time frame. I always mark out. I do top down, so I start on the daily, go to the 4 hour, then each one, the 50 minute. Time is fractal, so every single time frame is the same. Higher time frames hold more weight. So if you've got a 15-minute IFVG, it's going to hold more weight than a 1 minute IFVG, something like that. Same kind of the same kind of philosophy there. It's all fractal, all the same, completely algorithmic. Price basically moves to sweep liquidity and fill imbalances. That's the whole reason why price moves. That's where I mean, you can see proof of that obviously with AMD. You can see proof of it with balanced price ranges, reacting off the consequent encouragement of FEGs, moving to fill an FEG like this to the tick. Why would a market maker do this? It's got no reason for random guy sat in a bank to take shorts here just because we refilled an efficiency. Any sense for a banker to do that? So, and there's no stops here either. There's no reason, like there's no stop losses here to be swept. It's literally just an inefficiency price, and the algorithm likes to fill these. Something happening. Let's take a look. There's no singular FVGs here. It's just a little bit of a letting its hair down. Thought we were gonna do something here, but we might get a 5 minute inversion here, which would mean that we could look for a confirmation model if we do get a closure above this. This range is going to be invalid because again we've reversed off of nothing basically. I mean, just this hourly gap here, but it was already filled, so I didn't really expect us to reverse off of that alone. We did tap into the rejection block here. Did we hit 50% of this rejection block? I don't typically trade rejection blocks nor use them as a PD array, but let's see just for the sake of it here. Well, looks like we hit the 50% of the rejection block. Right here's black line. We missed it by like 0.25 ticks. I bet you if this is on NQ, we tapped it 50% to the tick. Anyway, what we can do here, since we are reversing again off this rejection block, we didn't sweep the low, which is a shame because that's my criteria for a long, and that 1 minute long there would have been nice. Patch. We'll probably still have a runner as well here. If we swept that low, you know, we could. Yeah, we'll wait here for a minute. We've got literally like 59 seconds, 58, until this 5-minute candle closure. And then we might get a 5-minute IFEG here. If we do, we can take a look at maybe getting a potential. I'll remove this if we do get the IFEG. Actually, no, I'll just remove it here. Potential IFEG, not yet. It's not closed. And obviously, we have a 5-minute gap here, which would be nice. We can back and tap this, maybe get a 30-second entry off of it. We'll end up closing this out here. 6, 5, 4, 3. Wow. Did we? Oh, we did. Like, just. Okay, I mean, it counts. It counts. I'm not about to go long here on the 5-minute, by the way. Even though it might work out, because we do look pretty bullish now. It's a pretty bullish reaction. Just a way deeper retracement than I thought. You know, just reacting off the rejection block here. Okay, so we have a 5-minute inversion. We do have a 5-minute inversion. If we come back down, excuse me, sorry. Let me just remove this. Remove these since they're irrelevant. If we come back down, rebalance EQ, tap into this M5 gap here, we could get a nice confirmation low. A big bullish rejection candle here. I would say this is a diddy candle. And obviously we have a 15-minute FUG here, which could be likely pulling price up. Is this a protected low? It's a protected low, then it makes sense. Okay, so actually, this actually makes sense. So this is something I missed, and I'll be completely honest about it. I actually missed this. This is a protected low, which is why this hasn't been swept. A protected low is basically when we sweep a low inside of an FEG or an imbalance or something along those lines. That low is then protected. So this low here is actually a protected low because we swept this low here, which was already inside this H1 imbalance. So if I'd have recognized that, I didn't, you know, we'll make mistakes. If I'd have recognized that, then yeah, this M1 setup here would have been valid. Oh well, no big deal. I mean, it's good to know that this would have been valid anyway, just because of the rejection block and the protected low. It is what it is. You know, it just gives me confirmation that my model's good. Nothing to be upset about. I am hoping for a confirmation long here, though. I do feel pretty confident now that we're going to continue higher. Now I've noticed that we were in a, you know, into the protected low. No valid gap here. It's too small. This was just slightly bigger. My bad. I guess that's something I can look, you know, look closer into. You know, I do make mistakes sometimes. You'll make mistakes sometimes. Yes. The thing is, I'd rather miss a trade than take a loss. So, yeah, can't be mad. Can't be mad. Easily missed as well. You know, a protected low is it's easily missed. Just had a notification on my phone inviting myself to watch my own stream. Make it make sense. Yet they don't let me in the recommended. What's going on, man? Why? What did I do? What did I do wrong? I do want a confirmation set up here. I don't really want to just get completely missed by everything. You just be so kind. Or not. Anyway, I'm going to head to the bog. I'll be back in a second. No point in me just sitting there. No confirmation, which is a shame. Yeah, it really is. Keep going higher and higher. I was bullish on the day. I was hoping we'd get a rejection off of EQ. We didn't. Instead, we came all the way down to this rejection block. So that kind of threw me off a little bit because we didn't sweep the low. And then after that, I looked further left and noticed that we had a protected low. So it is what it is, you know. Yeah, it gave a valid M1 setup off the rejection block. So yeah, it is what it is, you know. I mean, it's a really nice setup. Now I know the full context. I might have missed it, but yeah, it is what it is, you know. It is what it is. Can't be mad about it. You know the setup works. Do the models. I was really hoping for a confirmation here of pullback. Yes, is swept these. Yeah, we are getting some sort. My initial bias was bullish, so every tape read trade I do and everything like that, it all leads to experience, time on the markets. 15-minute, yeah. If we get a 15-minute IFEG and then we can take a confirmation off of that. Get a bit high in the range though, which I don't really like too much. A lot session. PM overnight, London and AM. We've moved a lot. Perfect time for a reversal as well. 10 AM reversal off the rejection block. Not gonna lie, kind of bummed that I didn't see this earlier. They protected low, but no point in whining about it. So we do have a 15-minute FEG here. And the thing is, when you miss a setup, you can't then go and jump the gun. You can't try and get in because it looks good or something like that. Like if we'd just come down a little bit lower here and given a slightly bigger displacement rather than just this tiny little one, we could have got in here, honestly. It would have been valid. Would have been a valid confirmation. The confirmation model is good for when you miss trades like this, or when this 5-minute gap here, for example, is lower, and you'd have to wait for the 5-minute to close. That's when the confirmation model is good. We get a retracement. We are quite high in the range, but again, we are close to the highs. Have a high here, high here, high here. We just left. Look for a potential gap here to pull back into. I want to give a pullback into the M2. I wouldn't mind it. We've left this here as a breakaway gap. 5, and we revisited it, which means breakaway gap. And then obviously the gaps below it, the gaps above the breakaway gap are all balanced. So we shouldn't come back down to this one. No gaps here for a later time. Now, the ones here are balanced, so this is the only sort of 2-minute FEG here which is unbalanced. If we got a confirmation, maybe a sweep of this low up into this 2-minute and a nice little 30-second long, we could potentially catch a nice risk-reward ratio trade here. We do quite a lot of room, another 60 points here. There's nothing saying we're going to get it though. Are you placing any trades? No, not yet. I've not got anything. There's nothing valid for my model. I'm looking for a confirmation of the 5-minute IF. I need to stick to my rules, try and revenge trade or get in because I'm pretty confident that we're bullish. I probably realized that about here when I actually looked back and saw that we had the protected low, but not grounds for me to just enter a trade. Yeah, no, in all fairness with you, this was a missed trade. I missed it because of protected low. That's just my error. I should have seen this. I didn't go further back. That was my issue. I didn't go far enough back to, obviously, I had it marked out here that we swept sell side, but I didn't clock that, that this was I don't know why. Hey, no confirmation here. Still haven't swept this high. It did come close, which makes it relative equal highs. This wasn't valid. I've already mentioned that we're now very bullish. So this wasn't valid. We left the high like right there. This is the exact same reason why I didn't take this one, because we just left the low, which makes, which automatically invalidates a trade. But obviously, if the high is protected or low is protected, it's a different story. And this isn't a protected high, is it? So look, if you go to the 3 minute, the 4 minute, 3 and the 4 minute, it's just a singular high. So oops. In terms of the 1 minute, yes, but it doesn't hold much weight. We might get a nice pullback finally. Waiting for like the whole session. We've got relative equal highs as well. For a good draw. Don't know why it does that, dude. Just let me edit the thing. This is a little bit of a riskier trade, just because we are reacting off the 15-minute here. But it's one to take low risk if we do get it. I say this is a low risk entry because it is a riskier trade. We might not get it anyway because we're rejected. But if we did get the closure there. Yeah, I would not mind basement. Would not mind that. Quite far. Quite far for a retracement though. This is a 5-minute FVG. It was a 2-minute at the time that I drew it because the 5-minute hadn't closed yet. Now the higher time frame is closed, we can mark this as an M5. The 15-minute hasn't closed yet. Apologies if I'm just going quiet here. I'm just trying to gauge whether this is something I'd want to participate in if we did end up actually closing this, or maybe wait for this late second. We're kind of stalling here now inside this gap. Some weird closures going on and across the different time frames. I think I could justify putting on some risk. Stop loss is quite small. Risk to reward's quite high. The only thing is price action is definitely slowing down. We'll just have to see if we get the closure here. I'm looking at this, by the way. Obviously, if we reject, then it's a no bueno. But okay, so we did end up rejecting off that gap there. FVG here held price down. We get a 5-minute inversion. We haven't swept the high. Like, we do have SMT at the highs. ES has already swept all the way up there. Hasn't tapped into the end dog yet. I mean, I've been restricted on TikTok, so I'm actually just going to end the TikTok live. I'll stay live on YouTube, but there's no reason for me to, stay streaming on TikTok. No one can even see it, Sense. Like, they're restricting me straight away. Make it make sense. Dude. Get rid of that. I'll have YouTube full screen. Haters, yeah, for real. Like, unoriginal content. What do you mean, dude? It's just my chart. Like, I'm not sat here replaying someone else's video or something. It's live trading. I don't get what's unoriginal about it. Like, are they detecting the live stream across YouTube too? And come on, F the haters. Like, they were recommending the live to people for like the first 2 minutes. I had like 10, 15 people join, and people on TikTok are doom scrolling, so don't stick around for long, and then no more. They don't value precision. They don't value patience and discipline. They just want to see, take signals. Oh, he's getting a trade. I'll get it now. I'm going to take his signal. That's not why I do this. I do this to educate, I guess, show what a disciplined mindset looks like. Oh yeah, exactly. I don't know if you were in the stream when I mentioned this. This was actually a valid long. If you weren't, let me know and I'll go over it again for you. If you were here, then there's no point in it again. But yeah, no, this was technically a missed trade. Yes, yeah. Okay, so you did see why. Yeah, this is protected low. Sorry, not this. This low over here. This was a protected low. So we didn't actually need to sweep this low for a valid reversal. Threw me off is that I was expecting a reversal off of EQ. I didn't expect it to come all the way down to the rejection block. At least I recognized it, you know. At least I wasn't sat there like, why was this? Why did we get such a good setup there? But it wasn't valid, you know. At least I went back and realized why, and now I can look for it in the future, you know. I'll look more closely for it. I already knew to look for it. So 5 minute hit. Let's see if we immediately rebalance to 15. So there's no 15-minute imbalance. If we close up here, this is the 15 second, by the way. You don't trade the 15 second. So this, yeah, this 30 second, be valid. Is there anything in our way? No M1, 2, 3, in our way. So we're just going to reject it anyway. At least close inside. Okay, so we've closed inside on the 5. No inversion there. There is inversions on the other setters, obviously, for the highest time frame. Gonna give it another 20 minutes or so here. I'm not gonna bother staying on any longer than that. Already had some pretty wild price swings. So I don't really think the price is gonna give such clean delivery like this for the rest of the session. I'll give it until maybe a little bit past 11. You know, we'll give it the 11 club macro if we don't get anything before. You know, we did leave relative equal highs. The only thing is we have SMT. We've got quite slow movement here, down, which means that we could be engineering the stops here, these highs. Quite nice draw on liquidity here, relative equal highs. Like I say, I'd preferably like a reversal off EQ here. But like I say, what's getting me here is SMT, big SMT highs. Take it all the way up here. To the low. There is an SMT at the lows as well. So can't really give it too much. He gets does my butt cheeks. Wow. And the rise is like a steak. A chef with a hammer on a steak. And we're going to inverse this 5. Yeah, I think we might just there, to be honest. Maybe we come back up and take these relative equal highs, but I don't think there's any like draw that we can try and hold. We might be able to get the scalp or something like this. Or if we inverse this, we did just tap into a M4, not EQ, so it's not perfect. There is SMT. It doesn't look like this is going to be the one. Obviously, if we do get it, then you could put your stop at the low. I know it looks like the risk reward horrible, but realistically, you close back below the IPG. It'll probably be more like this. Like I say, I would like us to come down and hit this here first, though. Second here. It inverse the 5, so it is a valid confirmation model, but I mean, where are you going to target? You know, it's quite late in the set. Obviously, when you're looking for like longs and shorts at the same time, it kind of clouds your judgment. So pick a side, you know. When both sides are valid, difficult to try and make a decision. It's best just to set hands in this case. But I mean, this is a valid confirmation short. But like I said, I'm looking for a long. I mean, like, where would you even target? You know, I'm looking for a rejection off there. You just holding. For the sake of holding, I don't have a target. So the reason why this is a valid confirmation short is because we do have a M5 FPG, IFEG, sorry. That I'm looking for. A weird price action today, I will say. We've just sort of bounced between two liquidity pools without even sweeping them, which is kind of weird behavior when you think about it. But then on the M15, it makes sense. We did come up and rebalance this 15-minute FEG here, but why such the the big candle closure? You know? I don't know. Sometimes it's beyond me. It is what it is. Yeah, like I say, that 30-second confirmation setup was valid. We did have M5 IVG here, which is quite low. This is the M5 closure, I think. This is valid. Just a bit late in the session for me to be trying to take mid trades. the highest probability times are like market open 9:30 and then 10 o'clock and then 11 o'clock, and we're not on the 11 o'clock macro yet. If this happened at 11 o'clock, maybe I'd have taken it or something. We looked at it maybe a little bit late, so I mean the entry might have been about here, a little bit of a late entry. All right, so we've tapped into this M5, we've rebalanced EQ, but there's now no singular gap. Excuse me, sorry. So yeah, basically there's no singular gap yet. I'm gonna gotta wait for that. This does not like EQ today at all. We've not had a single reaction off an EQ. Straight ping ponging between like nothing. One rejection block in a 15-minute gap, but we didn't sweep the high inside of it, which doesn't really make this a valid setup or anything. There's nothing really here that's valid. We didn't sweep this high. Kind of the kick, you have to have a valid liquidity sweep for the model to, be valid. It's a necessity. If you don't have it, then there's no trade, unless obviously context like this with the rejection block and the protected low, like very specific context, which is why I missed this one. And obviously we had the confirmation model, but we didn't sweep the high. So even as a confirmation model, yeah, it's valid, but it's not a very good one because we didn't sweep the liquidity. Obviously, the whole session we've had SMT ping pong in between the highs and the lows. So like that's not helped. The session's been a little bit difficult. I will admit. All right, yeah, it's not ranging. Yeah. See what we do have though. Singular and one is multiple time frame imbalances. I'm going to give it another 7 minutes or so here until 11. But I doubt that we're going to get it. Well, I might just like try something on an eval or something, I guess. It's all, there's no like singular gap. There's 5 minute here, 4 minute, 3 minute, 2 minute, and then the 1 minute, obviously, which just inversed. Like, getting off the 2 minute right here. So you can't take the 1 minute and expect us to just go higher. Well, we very well might, but you flipping the odds 50-50 and they're not in your favor. It's literally a 50-50. It's like flipping a coin. You've got an imbalance here on the 2 minute, an imbalance here on the 3 minute, and 4, and then obviously the 5 hasn't closed yet. So you know what I mean? You can't like long when there's a higher time frame gap above because we've been distributing off bearish PD arrays here in this whole leg. So what's to say that we're not going to distribute off this 2-minute PD array here? You'd have to wait for each time frame to close above. And fucking hello, yes. Yep. We're all good. We're all good. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I've got nothing. Weird PA. Weird PA. Like, kind of clean at the same time, but weird because we never actually swept any liquidity. And that is kind of the depth ranging. Like, not long. Relative equalizer. For a 5-minute setup, it's decent. Like I say, it's kind of risky though, because of what we've been doing with raging. We've been missing liquidity. So what's to say that we're actually going to go up and sweep this and not just hit this up here, for example, in reverse? There's no solid break-even point for the 5 minutes. I guess we can tape read it. This is a 3-minute chart. 5-minute closes in a little over a minute. Push. Oh, damn, I didn't realize I had the gain all the way down on my mic. I hope that's better. I apologize. So if we get this 1-minute candle close here, it closes above this gap, and obviously it would then close above this 5-minute too. I wouldn't feel bad about taking that as it is, just because obviously we'd have the 1-minute closure as well. We've got 27 seconds here. Bit rate. Were you good on the bit rate? I don't know. All right, so we have a 5-minute inversion. Well, okay, fair enough. Yeah, if we close above this 1 minute, I'll get in for a little like a low risk. There's your break even. Yeah, if we close above this on the M1, if we don't, I'm not going to take it. But if we close above this inversion here on the M1, I'll get in for a little bit. Or we just wick nothing. A potential protected low here on the 30-second and on the M1. Like I say, it's quite late in this session though. A little bit of a messy setup, so obviously no heavy entry here, and I'm going to do it on eval too. If we do get it, obviously. Stalling now though. Teasing the closure. It doesn't give me an entry here in a couple of minutes. I'm just gonna come off. We just start dilly-dallying here inside of this imbalance, then there's going to be no momentum, and then therefore there's no point in taking the trade. I'm going to give it like a minute or two. We do have the 5-minute inversion here. And we're reacting off EQ and another 5-minute gap. And we have a decent draw on liquidity. We have relative equal highs here inside of a 15-minute gap. But we just wicked both sides and now just doing nothing. So yeah, it looks like we might just chill here now. Like I say, if we do get this closure though, I'll take it on eval. Okay. Alright, I've just done 2 on eval there. It's going to be a pretty quick break even. There's your break even, so you kind of got to give it 1 minute. I'm going to move the stop down as well. I don't really see why price should come down lower. Going to give it a full candle here. Or actually moving my stop to break even. You have to be a little bit careful though, because we do have a potential gap here. Yeah, if we come back into this range, I'm just going to close it. Like, there's no point in me holding this trade. Okay. I'm happy to let it retest this. I'm on eval, so I don't really care about this account. This is definitely an eval trade, by the way. Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna wait, I'll see if it rejects. Like I say, eval, I don't care, so. Yeah, oh well. It is what it is. It would have been a break even on a funded account, so it's just because it was on eval that I left it. Yeah, oh well. I thought that might happen, to be fair. You know, it's just ranging. This was quite bad, and why I took it on eval. But yeah, all right. Well, I hope you learned something anyway. And yeah, if you ever catch another trade, by the way, that looks like this, it's a little bit ropey. You know, you're not really too sure. Just take it on eval. You know, just be safe. Be safe than sorry. Don't take anything like this on a funded account. It's not worth it. It's not worth the pain. Yeah, safe funded accounts for, you know, perfect setups. All right, well, I'm going to call it there. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I'll be back on tomorrow, and hopefully we can catch something clean on the funded and not just some random crap. Yeah. Anyway, guys.